Hi boys and girls, it's Mrs. D. I hope you're all okay. I've been reading some stories for the younger children. However, I do teach you bigger boys and girls and thought it was really lovely if I could read you one, maybe a chapter or a few pages every day so that you can have 5 minutes of listening to a story as well. The book I've chosen is actually a well-worn book and it's my son. Now my son Oz is going to be 16 next month and he's just finished year 11 and he would never let me return this book to the library, so we've had to keep renting it because it was his favourite. When he was in year 6 he read it probably about 4 times. Now I know the Olympics is planned this year, so I thought, well, let's read it. It's called Cycling for Gold and it says, can Sam achieve his Olympic dream? And the author's Owen Slot. And let me read you the blurb, okay? Sam has discovered a talent no one knew he had. Sam is the fastest boy on his paper delivery round and under suspicion for being too speedy. But when Sam's boss spots his talent for cycling, he also sees an opportunity. And so years of rigorous training begins as Sam prepares to race in the Olympic velodrome. Can Sam handle the expectation now he's known as the fastest newspaper boy on wheels? So I'm going to read it to you. It's up to you what you do now. You can just chill and relax. I'll read you a couple of pages. I'll put a bookmark in and I'll read you another one maybe tomorrow. So part 1 is called The Race, boys and girls. Here we go. I'm excited to read to you. Okay, The Race. Well worn, coffee and all sorts. Every morning started with a bike race and Sam thought that it was about time he won. Every morning at Mr. Parrott's newsagent shop early. They started at 6:30 a.m. Sam versus Nate. Ready, steady, go. And away they went for 38 minutes of frantic pedalling, 39 on a bad day when the weather wasn't friendly. When it was really bad, Sam would come back with wet shoes and socks soaked and with mud spattered up to his back. That wasn't a good way to start his school day. The race record was 37 minutes and 12 seconds and it was Sam who held it. The day he set it, he flew on his bike through the roads like a maniac. That was the day when the wind and every single traffic light seemed to be in his favour. He'd thrash Nate easily, but that was a month ago and his winning streak had pretty much ended there. Now it seemed he was losing more than he won, and that meant he was not only losing the race, but money too. This is what happened every day at this shop on the edge of the Peak District. 2 14-year-olds doing 2 paper rounds raced each other on their bikes. At the newsagents, which was called Anything and Everything, Mr. Parrott would always have his customers' newspapers laid out in 2 piles, all in perfect order. He was very precise. On the left was the pile for what he called the West Circuit, and on the right was the pile for the East Circuit. Sam and Nate would take 1 each. Which one do you fancy today, Nate? Sam asked. West or East? It was Nate's right to choose. Whoever won the previous day would decide whether he did the East or the West the following morning. The West was slightly longer, with more countryside, longer roads and fewer newspapers to deliver. The East Circuit was shorter, with more newspapers for more houses, but they were closer together. If you did the East Circuit, you delivered in 68 houses. If you did the West Circuit, you delivered to 61 houses. Whichever you picked, though, your time on the road was almost exactly the same. It was the perfect race. Sam watched Nate's face. He was sweeping his hair across his forehead and staring out of the shop window, checking the weather. Upstairs in the kitchen above their heads, Sam could hear Mr. Parrott starting to make breakfast for his family. He heard the knife whistling. He heard the parrot yelling to wake up. He heard Mr. Parrott yelling to wake up his wife and kids. Come on, you dozy dogs. He always called them dozy dogs or lazy lizards, or sometimes weary wildebeest or cuddly kittens. I prefer that one. Mr. Parrott was a happy man, loud and happy. Sam really liked him. At that moment, Sam knew exactly what was going through Nate's mind. If it was a good weather day, Nate would pick the West Circuit. It was longer, but there were less stops. You could really pick up speed and race it. However, if it was a bad weather day, Nate would avoid the West. He wouldn't want to climb Freshton Hill in the wet, not dragging that newspaper trailer behind him. And worse was the wind blew into your face when you got to the top. But today it wasn't easy to decide, as the weather was neither good or bad. Sam thought he knew exactly which route he wanted. He almost always wanted the West Circuit. He almost always wanted the option that involved speed. Sam loved going fast. "You're not feeling confident today, are you?" he said to Nate, teasing him gently. He wasn't often allowed to tease him, especially not at school. But when they were at anything and everything, the rules were slightly different. "Not sure you can beat me?" "You wish," Nate replied, shaking his head slowly and confidently. He leaned down and picked up the bigger pile. He was going to take the east. Right, boys and girls, we're on page 6. Tomorrow, or maybe even later on today, I will read you a few more pages. Let me know if you like it or not, okay? Hope you're all good. Keep safe. Mrs. D loves you, mind. Boom.